Welcome to the Musing Moon Meditation. This Musing Moon is brought to us by the season of Scorpio. And with the season in full swing, the veil, a shield that separates the physical form from the spiritual, is actually the thinnest. So as we step into this garden of our soul, the ethereal, magical energy of this fixed water sign, it really is a time to get in touch with our shadow self of life in order to celebrate and also, more importantly, acknowledge our own inner truth. So this new moon will apex at around 3:14 p.m. Mountain Time, 2:14 Pacific, 5:14 Eastern. And also, with Hallows Eve in the rearview mirror, this lunar event is going to present even more sweet and stunning energies. And being that Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, it's this all or nothing energy. It's completely cold, aloof, not aware, and then suddenly it becomes stinging. And we have no knowledge at birth wherever Pluto is. Our soul simply hasn't gotten to her in all of her lifetimes or in all of these incarnations. So it's this energy of no awareness whatsoever. It's like having a blind spot where you don't know until something happens around the shift, because we're completely unaware of this particular issue. And also we're unaware of how to protect ourselves in that particular area or that part of life. We really don't know how to use boundaries, which actually means that we have this inability to make distinctions between a blind spot on one side and a blind spot on another. There's no distinction, there's no line. So it's kind of like the difference between red or blue. So that's kind of like a boundary in our consciousness that kind of puts a line between those two colors, because they each have different shades, they have different vibrations to them, and they're different. They're just different. So we each have this idea, or in reality, there's this individual aspect. It's kind of like a phenomenon within the 3D reality, where 3D, that's where we have this separation of a whole point of incarnating on Earth, and it's separate from the unity of God, the oneness of God, the consciousness, where it's the individual form of the human beingness. And, within this 3D world, we do not exist outside of it, and yet there's this phenomenon where the 3D world and the real world, why the soul has absolutely zero idea of how to draw boundaries and protect itself, because it's this all or nothing sometimes energy. And we often unknowingly, we're putting up a wall sometimes, and we don't even realize this particular area, and we kind of need this area of power, because really, when you draw a line, you certainly have more power. So if I say this is left and this is right, the fact that they have separated these two directions gives me a little bit more power. So for me, to separate things is power over it consciously, something back to shut it down. So it's kind of like this authority. This is like absolute. But the interesting thing about Pluto is it does tell us absolutely where things are whenever the transit of Pluto is coming to a particular part of our astrological chart, our cosmic grid, where we do have like zero choice, where we will have these boundaries becoming kind of an area to transform, where they're going to transform in our life. So if we have no boundaries, there is, if they're not there, and we're trying to shape a different aspect of consciousness where it's changed, and there really wasn't a wall there before. So if I have a circle and I put a line halfway down the circle, it's basically not the same shape because it's a half circle. So the shape of it has changed. So boundaries end up changing the shape of things, and boundaries in them shifting and changing the power of those things. And when you have a case like this with the sun, then you kind of have a boundary. You make it more valuable. It adds value. And when you are aware of your issues, it really adds value and you are more protected. So that really makes things more valuable. So all in all, if anything that you have a wall around, whatever it is behind the wall, that has greater value. So if you have a house and you have to go through a gate to get to your house, those houses are considered to be more valuable by the human psyche, the mind, because there's a wall separating you from one house that's yours or one house that's mine. So automatically you have boundaries. And a lot of times people with really low self-esteem, they have zero boundaries. So everything within the universe, when we give it more time and we give it space, it's worth more. Space, when you have something in between something. So it's valuable. It's valuable in the world. And in our human psyche, our consciousness, it's worth nothing when you think about it if it has no boundaries. So it's like having a safety deposit box or leaving your money on the counter. So if you have no boundaries, it's going to give it away, and you have this aspect where you don't protect something. Then something where you have kind of a deficit or a problem or bleeding or whatever it is, that kind of represents an aspect where we are completely ignorant and we know nothing about anything whatsoever. So here we have Capricorn in the sign of Pluto, and Pluto has been there for a really long time. Basically, I think around 15 years. I'm not sure when it started. I feel like it started in 2012 or 2009, somewhere around there. I haven't actually looked. So basically, this generation of people born in Pluto with Capricorn, they're all ignorant about the same thing. So Pluto is kind of like a generational aspect. For me, it's the shaman's portal, going into the other world. That's kind of where it resonates for me. But this is an aspect where people generally have zero knowledge of all of the same things. So kids coming in right now with Pluto and Capricorn, they have zero knowledge of control, zero knowledge of authority, just different knowledges about like the history of the past lives. Even they could be kind of a controlling generation, where they could never really make boundaries. They might have been made slaves, or they've been enslaved in systems where they're completely ignorant to protecting other people's freedoms, and they might be a little more domineering or controlling. So this generation will probably be completely domineering to others or completely surrendering over to what other people. So just kind of remember that Pluto is a all or nothing aspect. So it's this learning of power, kind of higher definition boundaries and where boundaries belong. And it always helps, the walls to come down, but it's not always helpful if the walls are always down within our subconscious conditions or other aspects in the field of Scorpio, which is actually pretty interesting and curious because Pluto is the death of things, the end of things, and worse, its opposite sign, which is the Earth, is the birth of things. So the opposite of zero, basically. So basically, it's this very powerful planet. Wherever it's transiting, you're basically being reborn in that area. And it really doesn't matter how much you have built up in the part of your life. You're really going to have to completely rebirth it, whatever that area is. So we've all been really rebirthing how we control ourselves, how we live now, and where we are controlling things in society. So this is the reason society is actually breaking down in government, finances, medicine, big pharma, all of these industries, because Pluto is putting a distraction on how we control things. So it's born at this degree. The United States is born at this degree. We're heading right into that. So the history and the birth of the United States and the Declaration of Independence, we created with the Declaration of Independence, the independence of of control on the earth, the planet, caused us to take. We actually took the control of our freedom in the United States, this particular nation, where we had the birth of democracy. So we have control of our own life. So you're kind of seeing this right now with the second round coming in. We're seeing different control mechanisms trying to be placed on humanity, technology controlling us, credit systems controlling us, social networking trying to control us, even credit trying to control us. So I'm kind of excited, I'm not going to lie, about the coming months, February 2022. That's when Pluto is going to hit that same aspect that it was when Capricorn was there for our United States Declaration of Independence. So I think we're going to start to see things collapse, certain control systems. So ultimately, Pluto is where we are completely ignorant in our chart, and we're all being born on this kind of aspect. I'm trying to say like years, oh, good Lord, I just said it 5 seconds ago, where we're born all different decades. Certain people within certain decades carry the same kind of ignorance standing based on when we're born. So we're just, for now, with Capricorn and Pluto, we are experiencing this revolution, claiming our own power from world government, basically learning how to draw boundaries to create this invisible line, this invisible part of our system. And we kind of want to separate ourselves from the system of control, those boundaries in life. So, it's coming away from this little hive kind of thinking where we have no separation of ourselves, and we feel like an average everyday person, and we have not really defined, we haven't created a zero death definition of where we belong in the world, and we have no definition of what makes us different, or no definition of the neighbor. Basically kind of like trespassing kind of thinking, where we have no cognition of our neighbors, not necessarily because their perspective of them in the world to respect boundaries in general, but who could a person be who would walk right on your lawn, So this is how we would have zero unique separation from life or even from the rest of the world. So this is like Pluto in themselves, in the world, where we have no protection, we have no boundaries. We might get sued because we didn't have a fence to keep people out. We can sometimes fall victim to predators or wolves or people who feed off of our energy. So it makes us, it makes people want to kind of steal our love. Without boundaries, you attract something terrible. Sometimes accidents happen, basically kind of negative, damaging events, because we haven't gone through the trouble to protect ourselves and make sure that we are protected in that particular area of our lives. So ultimately, we have to learn to put up our bow and our arrow, and honestly just pray in those areas. And it kind of starts the protection, the process for that protection, that energy around our heart space, and asking God, universe, the Great Spirit, whomever you feel called to call in, to please protect you in whatever area, in particular, because we don't really necessarily protect that aspect, and we're not really careful, and it's hard to accumulate a lot of abundance or a lot of growth because of this necessity in order to grow and make something into something larger in life and larger than life. It's a little bit unguarded, and it's easy to appropriate in space within life in order to protect ourselves, our feelings, to know where they belong. As a result, just opening up and accepting and receiving, and opening up and taking certain things in life or feelings, long-term relationships, to the world, so we can be vulnerable in our relationships, not necessarily sex, but not necessarily really knowing how we feel with relationships over feelings, or to be different, have a different frequency, a different vibration with people. So there's a lot of wrong vibrations down to the nanosecond. And ultimately, if you don't protect yourself, and if you don't take time to protect this aspect that we all have, the best thing to do every day is to pray and just have a relationship with your heart, that your heart truly wants to be protected. And if you consciously ask the universe to please protect your feelings, your relationships, the universe will show you all of the areas where you are, and you will start attracting people that will assist you or help you out of this and help you learn to protect and put up certain walls in that part of your life in order to make sure that everything is safe, and you're working with your Pluto. So with this new moon coming up, it's this new day, it's this new dawn, and we have a lot of influences happening. We have Uranus opposing the moon at 12 degrees. There's a lot of aspects that are resonating with the number 3. The moon itself, Scorpio, is at 12, next to a 3. Mars is at a 3. Venus is entering into the palace of the 3. So this new moon it's re-innovating what we believe we are worth. So we can kind of open up and expand at our boundaries, and even different aspects in our life where this moon calls for us to expand the expansion of our protection, or the expansion of our boundaries, based on what our heart and our feelings are telling us that they're what we believe we should be moving forward with in life. A new belief in ourselves at this moment, manifesting a new relationship to the world as we now expand our conscious real estate in our day-to-day life and our day-to-day reality. So with this, it opposes the innovation of our values on the other side, and how we value our day-to-day life. So values, I think with this new moon, it's really saying real estate, where Uranus in Taurus, and we raise our value, where we raise our real estate in order to do what we want to do. So this is really, this is kind of the manifesting on the other side, because we are kind of facing our own real estate on the other side, our own manifestations. At the same time, we're also going to face our fears. We have Black Moon Lilith as well in our mind sector. So our mind is facing fears and addressing fears of expansion as we have this new moon with this expansion, literally with Venus in Sagittarius. So we have this higher and higher limit in ourself, the ruler of 3 beliefs, Sagittarius, higher purpose, transforming the definition of reality. The definition of society is actually being transformed. So for me, this actually means that my actual life for me, where it's kind of rising, where I live, my local reality is going to go through a spiritual transformation. So I'm going to shift into the moon. So the new moon happens when the confident sun kind of pairs up with the security-seeking moon, the emotional foundation. It's really fun. Actually, it's offering us the chance to really gain some clarity around a new chapter. that we want or to write over the course of the next few weeks up until the next full moon, and even 6 months after, when the corresponding full moon kind of happens. So with this new moon falling in this magnetic, deeply emotional, spiritually gifted Scorpio, you're going to feel more connected to your intuition, and potentially you might be willing to go swimming a little deeper into these powerful and more complex feelings. So it's going to feel even more intense, and honestly, it's going to be like a game changer. It's falling within the same month, just 2 weeks ahead of lunar eclipse as well, in the opposite sign. So eclipses actually bring major shakeups, sudden shifts and twists. So this new moon serves as kind of a preview, or like an installation, or an installation of that energy, like a pre-install. But the main aspect is that it's actually in opposition to Uranus at the same degree. Uranus, the planet of change and innovation, rebellion, vibration. In Taurus, which can actually stir up the anxiety and our desire to break free of anything that's no longer serving us. So really expect the unexpected and give yourself kind of a nudge to move in an entirely new direction, particularly when it comes to making money or manifesting, joint resources, intimacy. Those are the areas of life that Taurus and Scorpio kind of rule. And even like thought changing herself, thoughts themselves, they might seem a little daunting, maybe some uneasiness or nervousness that you're experiencing around this new moon. It should feel probably a bit unfamiliar, but yet familiar. As we all know, 2021 has been this ongoing shakeup. We've had squares between Saturn and the planet of limitations and boundaries and Uranus. So it actually makes perfect sense that so many lunar events, really the last 3 moons in October, September, and even in August have all served up on this platter this kind of underlying theme. By now, though, you could be tired of being told to prepare for some destabilization, but you should also be fairly kind of limber and flexible whenever that happens. So even though we have this new moon in the opposition to Uranus, bringing shock to our system, our solar system, for better or even for worse, we really have this sweet, friendly sextile between the messenger, Mercury herself, in Libra, the balancing sign, an air sign, relationship-orientated Venus in the fiery, truth-loving Sagittarius sign. This is all kind of happening, conjuring up for the new moon, which can also make for these eye-raising kind of balls of curving energy, making it a little easier to deal with, actually. So our connection to our nearest and dearest might become more naturally, it might become more heartfelt, more direct, and even having unfiltered conversations could have you feeling supported as you navigate all of these wild twists and turns that arise through this new moon. So I'm going to go through each of the signs and the new moon and where this will affect you based on your sign. I would listen to both your sun and your rising sign, and then we will get to the meditation. So these are just ideas of aspects where you might be feeling the energy of this new moon. So I will consciously go through each of them. So Aries, this new moon is falling in your 8th house of sexual intimacy, your joint resources. So you'll be tuning into what you need and changes that you might have to make to feel more comfortable with sharing your bank account and also your bed. It's sending magic to your house of debts and settlements. So this cosmic energy is really encouraging you to tie up those loose ends that have actually been holding you back from making the commitments that really inspire you. And since you're the purebred of the zodiac, you always deal with these energies in a pure form, just focusing on manifesting new self and trust with yourself in general. So you're manifesting new boundaries with yourself and how you draw the line with yourself. How do you stand up and enforce those boundaries with yourself? So this is all coming into your own inner power with self-trust and opening that gateway up to the new moon. Basically, on the new moon, you're going to expand your emotional trust when it comes to boundaries with others. So your new spiritual season really starts with trusting other people in a new way. And that might mean that you stop trusting certain people that are truly untrustworthy, or that you open up your boundaries to emotionally trust others. Also, the other situation might be that you start to trust organizations, like you start trusting people at your work. But you're expanding your boundaries and expanding your emotional trust with other people and other situations in your daily life. Now, others in daily life, this also needs to be balanced with re-evolving your beliefs about what you value. So, to be honest, with Uranus retrograde on the other side of this conjunction, the new moon, you're re-evolving what you consider to be productivity, reinventing or evolving what you consider to be money, expanding your trust in life, and opening up with your boundaries of the spiritual energy, the spirituality of the season, with new spiritual energy of productivity and manifesting money, and also manifesting material things. So with this, it's kind of this back and forth between the two of them, and you kind of have to find balance between where the line is between you and those other people, and what you believe is possible as far as your own productivity, your money, and your ability to manifest, which is actually represented by Uranus, which is changing and shifting this dimension. So, how you do manifest things with this energy, and at the same time, you're also, with this new moon, you're going to be facing some emotional insecurity around communication, around your thoughts, around your logic, or even around writing. You might also face emotional insecurity around a contract or a legal agreement that you are sure, you want to be negotiating. So, whatever you feel emotionally insecure about, it might bring up old fears where you have been cheated in the past, lied to in the past, or someone has miscommunicated to you in the past. So you might manifest a little kind of variation of that with someone literally in your life. And remember, where we are facing emotional security with our communication or writing, this is where in particular you want to be careful about your emotional boundaries, where you draw your boundaries of the people, and also how you value yourself on the other side of that magic. So Aries are building self-trust in the new moon, planting a new emotional chapter, a new emotional season, basically a new spiritual season or a new spiritual enterprise when it comes to boundaries with others. Now, Taurus, this new moon falls in your 7th house of partnership. So this is a moment of taking the pulse of reciprocity in yourself, your nearest and your dearest bonds, whether they are romantic, platonic, professional, partnerships, it doesn't really matter. Just revealing how you and the people that you care about have actually changed and shifted. So growth is always a tricky, but remember, you can also grow together instead of growing apart. So as we climb the ladder, building a new self-trust when it comes to your relationship to yourself, you're kind of putting on the final touches on trusting yourself as we head into this new moon, with the way you manage yourself and how you relate to yourself, even the way you approach yourself. So whether you do have trust in yourself in general, this is trusting yourself in situations, and also trusting yourself in relationships, trusting yourself inward, trusting yourself with your thoughts. So you're really manifesting self-trust within your relationship to yourself. It's kind of like the cornerstone or the wall of your ability to transform your life. And then as the new moon is coming and at her apex, you're expanding your emotional trust and starting a new spiritual season with your relationship to others. So this is a whole new spiritual season with how you are, how you relate to other people, and it'll be a whole nother season of what relationships are for you. So this is where you're opening up your new season, basically all of life. So all of life will now have a different approach to relationships, to others. That means you're going to manifest a different type of relationship in your life. So it's going to be according to these new spiritual rules in your life. And it's really kind of defined by where your emotional comfort zone is. So the way you separate the old season from the new season of relationships is where you are, where you draw your boundaries around your feelings, self-protecting your feelings and your relationships. But the most important thing now, which means is what you to be, as you are expanding your emotional trust in relationships, you're also having to re-evolve your belief about your behaviors and your interactions with others, your behavior and the way you interact with other people. So this is going to move to a new dimension, or it's going to be based on a new belief, on a new fundamental philosophy, if you will. So as you transform your boundaries in your relationship to others, you're also changing your belief and your philosophy around how to interact with others, what behaviors you should have, where are your defensive or where you are defensive or where you're not defensive, how you do respond to other people's behavior as well. So you really need to have a balance between yourself and with others, and where you draw your boundaries with them. And as you are moving into a new emotional relationship, you face emotional insecurity around productivity or money. So you might, it might be your job, your ability to perform, your ability to get things done, what you're actually worth, even what you're worth in relationships maybe. Again, just facing emotional security means that you want to become secure. So when you are drawing these boundaries with other people, you want to address these securities of your own worth, of you getting what you deserve financially, if it happens to be with your career or people you work with, and also just insecurities about your ability to face money. Now, it kind of actually means you're going to face your security, so your insecurities, so you don't have money problems. So again, to summarize, for you, Taurus, you are manifesting self-trust to your relationship to yourself, changing your spiritual season or those flavors, those ingredients, when it comes to relationships to others or situations or organizations. So Gemini, this new moon is in your 6th house of routine and wellness. So it's this sweet opportunity to get in touch with your intuition around what you need on the day-to-day basis to feel more balanced and also more vital, encouraging you to review your patterns and reframe your organization skills. So it's a beautiful time to get more juice out of your own squeeze. So within the first few days as we climb to the new moon, you're going to work on trust when it comes to your health and the level of stress and how you live in the moment. So this is your day-to-day living in your body, the stress level on your body, nutrition, sleep cycles. So basically all of the stuff, changing your boundaries and learning to trust your health, learning to trust your body, just learning to trust your consistency of staying stress-free and probably worry-free as well. I think Geminis in general, worry is kind of a form of stress for them. So manifesting self-trust with health and stress on your way to the new moon. So you're expanding your emotional trust and opening a new spiritual season when it comes to your daily work and your quality of your daily life. So it's a new spiritual season when it comes to work. These are your daily routines, how you work, the quality of your life, Did you stay inside all day? Do you go outside during the day? Do you have a long commute to work? So this is a season for you, a season of work, a new season. So this is a new season for daily routines, a new spiritual chapter of how you're going to work, how you're going to live your day to day. So basically just changing and shifting how you live and work in your day to day reality. That's what this new moon is. Now, it's also how we live and work day to day. It has to be counterbalanced with a new spiritual philosophy. So you now have your new belief, or you're re-evolving your belief system and your values around spirituality and your values around a soulmate. So maybe a soulmate relationship. Could be somebody you're with, or even your spiritual values of what gives you faith in life. So it's this back and forth between innovating your faith and life, your overall faith in life altogether, and trying new boundaries around where you work, is where your routines are in life, and how your day-to-day life is. It's now expanding your trust in day-to-day life and how you live in your daily life. So this is making you face emotional insecurities around your own behavior and your interaction with others. So you might have to face a fear of how you interact with others. Possibly fears around what other people say, or be concerned about what the responses will be. Might be around disappointing other people, facing fears around disappointing, or facing fears around making mistakes, around dropping the ball. So definitely all of that applies, because it's daily life behavior interactions with people you work with, behavior interactions with people you live with day to day. So Geminis, you are showing up or shoring up your boundaries with yourself, to trust yourself with your health and your stress, gliding up into the energy of this new moon. And then you're going to be expanding your spiritual season and making a new spiritual chapter around daily routines and work for the new moon. Cancer, this new moon is falling in your 5th house of romance. So this new moon could mark an exciting new chapter of your love life. It's this glimmering self-expression. This could lead to so many fascinating developments in your life, especially in your love life, but it could also be the artistic awakening that you've been waiting for, starting to do your own magic. So don't be surprised if you find yourself moving in a thrilling new direction with your current or potential flame. So Cancers are manifesting self-trust when it comes to self-love. So as you are on the rise to this new moon, you're shoring up your boundaries with actually just loving yourself. Boundaries, so enforcing your boundaries, making sure that your heart comes first, that you take care of yourself before you actually take care of others. You know, it really isn't a win-lose situation anymore for you, and it should honestly always be a win-win, where our heart gets to get something and their heart also gets to get something. And really, that's the same thing. It's not waiting for them to give you something. That's you making sure your heart is cared for first before you care for others. So that's how you manifest a new spiritual season inside of yourself, is that you honor your own personal self-love. So the new moon then expands your emotional trust and your emotional comfort zones with romance, creativity, and children. So you're expanding your comfort zones with love, with romance. You're expanding your emotional boundaries with children and your creativity, all based on this new integrity of self-love that you are creating before the apex of this new moon. So with Scorpio, this is expanding your romance, creativity, and children. It represents a new spiritual season when it comes to love coming. And I can honestly say for Cancers, a new spiritual chapter, this new spiritual season of love, romance, and creativity. So this new moon is really expanding your emotional trust in those areas based on this new self-love integrity. At the same time, it has to be balanced with changing your philosophy and innovating your perspective of your social life, your social reputation, your public interactions. So basically, who you are in the world, your philosophy of who you're meant to be in the world, your obligations to people in the world. So this really has to be balanced basically with your new boundaries around love, creativity, and children, all things related to the 5th house. And it has to be balanced. In order to be balanced, it's going to take on a new philosophy about who you are in the world and who you're not in the world, the way you present yourself in the world, and also maybe possibly take on a new direction. So it's this new spiritual chapter of who you are in the world. It's a new spiritual chapter of who you are with loving and creativity, with children. And also at the same time, you might have to face some fears, some core fears around a soulmate, fears around spiritual karma, like something that played out in your whole life, or fears around faith. For you to actually have this new romance or this relationship with children, or have this new relationship with society, this new chapter, this new spiritual acumen, if you will, with children, society, you have to face head on your emotional insecurities around a soulmate, your karma, as if you are doomed or not, or you're facing insecurities that actually prevent you from having faith. So Cancers, you're showing up your borders, your integrity of self-love, and the new moon is expanding into a new spiritual season with romance, creativity, and children. Leos, this new moon falls in your 4th house of home life, kindling a fire of domestic bliss, if you will, encouraging you to create sacred space that allows you to let your guard down and be your most authentic self, laying the groundwork for a move possibly to a new home, or to kick off an entirely new era for your inner intimate life. So Leos are kind of shoring up their boundaries with integrity when it comes to self-nurturing and caring for their own feelings. So coming into a new integrity with caring for your feelings and having boundaries that protect your feelings and holding up those boundaries and putting your feelings first, basically. So it's like pulling the thorn out of your own paw, when I think of a lion or a cat, and taking care of your own self first and being there for your own self, your emotional care for yourself. So this is really, really important for you to really move forward this year and for your career. Also, I have to say, because the 4th house is the foundation of the 10th house, so as we move into the energy of this new moon and coming into new integrity with yourself, nurturing and caring for your own feelings, that's the first part of this. And as the new moon comes in, then you expand your emotional trust when it comes to everyone else in life. So this new spiritual chapter, your new spiritual season, is going to be based on your ability to emotionally trust family, your home, and your ability emotionally to cope. So it's this new season of like an emotional coping season. It's the season of your home, your family, and how you ground yourself and how you nurture yourself in a broader sense. So you're grounding yourself by being in greater touch with your feelings, your new spiritual season, as that you come from this new home and this new family, this new strength. So it's like the soil of your soul. So this new moon is really a new day for a new home, a new family, a new emotional foundation. And this has to be balanced with your career, leadership, in parenting. So you're actually going to end up having a new philosophy about where your career should go, a new philosophy about how to lead your life, and also a new philosophy or a belief about how to parent, or a new dimension that you can come out from. And then you end up having this new spiritual chapter, a new spiritual season with your career legacy, because you have this new spiritual season with how you ground yourself and how you care for yourself emotionally, being well cared for emotionally, happiness in the home, the family, the foundation will lead you to a greater fruit, the greatest harvest in career, parenting, and also that legacy. And knowing where you must face those fears to expand within your new home and family, the foundation, is your fears around society, fears of being rejected, fears of not fitting in, and fears of people not liking you. Fears of people not liking your post, social media triggers. So just facing fears around the public, facing fears around friendship, just interaction, really being confident about who you really are in the world, and facing emotional security. So this is really important for you to have a strong emotional foundation and a strong emotional coping skills, which then leads, of course, to where Uranus is giving you a new perspective, a potential for your career. It can grow. So Leos, the first few days as we cascade into the new moon, a new emotional self-nurturing integrity. The new moon is this new spiritual chapter. It's based on a new family and emotional coping foundation. So Virgos, this new moon is in your house of communication. It brings out your curiosity and your social energy, starting off the month by participating in these intellectual exchanges on learning so many things from others, but also helping you to connect with others and come up with new ideas that really could lead to satisfying collaborations. So for the first few days as we cascade into the new moon, you're coming into a new integrity with how you talk to yourself. So it's around boundaries, around your thoughts. Are your thoughts acceptable? And what thoughts are not acceptable? What tone do you give yourself? What aspect of that tonality is acceptable? Or where are you going to give mental attention to, and where are you going to not give mental attention? So this is where your integrity comes from, that little seed of integrity. It comes from the self-talk and the self-dialogue. And once you have this mental integrity of how you talk to yourself in place, then this new moon is about planting those new seeds around all communication, all logic, all writing, all the intellectual village, the property, the things, the projects that you do with your mind, which is in communication and thinking, analysis, the algorithms, all of the big mental stuff. So basically, this is where the new spiritual season is for Virgos. You're going to have a new mental gymnasium. I think you're going to think differently about more powerful things. I think you're going to come into a greater intellectual power, one that you've never had before in your entire life. And this new intellectual communication, this logic and this power is counterbalanced with your beliefs, your education, your philosophy. So Uranus, having said that, you're going to have to reevaluate all of your philosophy of your life. You're going to re-evolve your education plans. You might re-evolve even travel plans. But it's going to be, kind of anything to do with the ninth house. Because that's kind of what falls under that aspect. So it's this balance between the new spiritual season of thinking, an intellect, an ability to write and communicate. So this new spiritual season of a philosophy, a belief in life. I believe in your future. I believe in what you're being educated on. So this is sort of this new spiritual season that starts up between thoughts to beliefs. Now, new communication and logic and writing to open up and really flourish in this new spiritual season. You're actually going to have to face emotional insecurity and fears around career, leadership, legacy, even parenting. If you are a parent, you might have an emotional apprehension about making decisions or Maybe you have some apprehension that's emotionally driven around if you're on the right career path, even around leading people or different aspects of groups or buddies, if you're leading them down the right path. So it's really facing any emotional insecurities around career, leadership, or parenting. And this is necessary for you to really come up into this new and move into this new spiritual season of communication, logic, and writing. So once again, as you climb into your skin on the way to this new moon with integrity of your self-talk, and then the new moon is a new spiritual season of thinking, logic, and even writing. Libra, because this new moon is in your second house of income, beginning an opportunity to set financial goals that will eventually lead to a much thicker wallet, if you will. So this new moon will invite abundance into your second house of money and stability, assisting you to really build a rock solid foundation. So it's an awesome time to brainstorm, fulfilling new direction for investing, or even bringing your skills to the table to boost your cash flow. So for you, you're going to be manifesting a new integrity around your self-worth, to your showing up your boundaries, to actually value yourself, to put yourself first and give yourself the benefit of the doubt, to uphold those boundaries, to separate these issues from the new self-worth, positive thinking. So you are shoring up and coming into this new self-worth, and then the new moon, you're going to expand and plant seeds of new productivity, new money-making abilities. So this is a new spiritual season of making money, the new spiritual season of manifesting abundance. It might even be a business or a product that you have, or something that you want to manifest or create. Could even be artwork or something like that. So it's this whole new season where it comes to what you can create and what you can manifest. And you could say that your pay grade is going to basically get an upgrade. So you're going to have, a higher pay grade basically in this new spiritual season. And now with this new higher spiritual pay grade, to counterbalance it with your own personal boundaries, your boundaries where you draw the line with people, where you draw the line of business, all the lines, sometimes you give too much away, where your boundaries with other people and places and situations. So this really has to be redefined and re-evolved under a different philosophy, a new belief about where the boundary needs to be drawn. So if you're going to manifest this new productivity, a higher amount of an abundance potential, so you have to be balancing between those two. And you won't be able to have the new money in the new season of making money if your boundaries aren't also reflecting that as well, your new intentions. Now, where you have to face your fears for this to happen is fears around believing. So facing fears around, are you educated enough? Do you believe in yourself? Are you believing in the right thing? Can you believe this is true? So this is emotional security. It's not an actual belief situation. It's an emotional and security around beliefs, and it has to be overcome. And that's kind of like the boundaries around productivity, money. Those are really important. We have to face these emotional insecurities around education, philosophy, knowing enough, being educated enough, basically all those worthy aspects. And you have to be in the right frame or the right philosophy based on those fears. So you're shoring up your integrity around self-worth. And then the new moon, you're really going to be turning a new corner, a new spiritual season with money, productivity, business, and also abundance. Scorpio, thanks to the new moon falling in your sign, this is the starting point for making a significant shift in how you are showing up in the world, which will encourage you to take some serious leaps towards self-improvement. So use this new moon's energy to remember how powerful you really are and how powerful you have yet to become. Your own goals, as well as those related to partnership, are going to be highlighted now as well. So with that, happy Earth Day, Scorpios. My moon is in Scorpio, so I'm super excited here. So you, for the first few days before this new moon, are coming into integrity with how you treat yourself. So this is how you respond to yourself. Do you ignore yourself? Do you show up for yourself? Do you make yourself wait until the end of the day? Or do you give yourself some self-care right away? So your boundaries around how you respond, are you defensive with yourself? Are you supportive? Do you treat yourself the way you treat others? So that's really when it's all about your own ego response to yourself. That's where your new nugget of integrity is. It's not how you treat yourself. It's how you treat your higher self. So you want to treat yourself on a higher level, especially if you expect higher out of life. It's not better to compare yourself to others, and others shouldn't even be compared to you alone with how you are treating yourself. Now, what's going to change then as a result is you're going to expand your emotional trust with how you behave with others. So having your own integrity of self-treatment in place, this is a new spiritual season to your interaction with others, how you behave with others, how you respond with others, the way other people come at you, and what other people assume from you. So this is your interaction with other people, your behavior with other people, and probably what you do for a living as well. Stuff like doing for a living, like if you're a plumber or a painter, a writer. So that's basically the second chapter of the first house, what you do to your day-to-day behaviors. So this is a new spiritual season for Scorpios in your day-to-day behavior and how you react or interact with others. But it also has to be in counterbalancing with your relationship to others altogether. So for you to have this new behavior with others, you must have a new philosophy about what relationships are, what's expected of you in a relationship, your belief around what goes into your values around a relationship. So we go into a new dimension, a new approach to how you relate to others in general, like your overall philosophy of what a long-term relationship is, and also your connection. So this is counterbalancing your behavior and your new spiritual season, old behavior. It's this counterbalance to the new philosophy about relationships, and where you must face all your fears around boundaries with others. So you need to face your fears around people, trusting, passing on your boundaries, your fears of people not respecting your boundaries, fears of you not being able to say no or uphold your boundaries, which I don't think is going to be the case. Some Scorpios do have problems of holding boundaries, even though they rule boundaries in themselves. So facing fears around betrayal, loss, theft, any sort of boundary crossing any sort of line. It could be like sexual fear, might be a part of this. It could be a lover. So it might involve facing fears around sexuality, facing fears around intimacy, even those very private, secretive boundaries with others. Fears that have to be faced for you to really step into your strength within this new season of behavior with other people and relationships. So Scorpios are, it's integrity of self-treatment once again, standing into integrity of self-treatment, and even self-preservation. And then for the rest of the week, from the new moon on, a new spiritual season with how you behave and interact with others. Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, with this new moon in your 12th house of spirituality and healing, this moment really lends itself to meditation, resting, and recharging, so you can gain more clarity on how you want to tackle bigger picture goals, especially in your day-to-day reality. It will be kind of a chance to let go of what you're no longer responsible for carrying and to find a sense of inner peace. It's like that breathe in and breathe out. So for you, you're stepping into a new integrity of inner faith. So this is you holding the faith, not letting fear drown you, literally, not slipping into the past, looking in the rearview mirror, assuming the past is happening again, and not falling into your own spiritual karma with yourself, not falling into self-sabotage, that kind of behavior, and sticking with integrity of faith, to stay in your faith and not letting yourself slip into the past, slipping into those fears, slipping into that old integrity of personal faith. That's what you want to do. You want to glide into the integrity of personal faith as you cascade into the new moon. And this will allow you to enter into a new spiritual season, literally moving into a new spiritual chapter of karma with a soulmate or faith in life. So this is a new day of your new faith, a new day of a soulmate relationship. If this is a soulmate relationship, it might really literally turn the corner. It could be even a new relationship to God, not religion, a relationship directly to God. So this could also be a new spiritual chapter with psychic ability and interconnectivity or activity with the higher realm, the higher dimensions. So if you're a person who wants to really channel, or you were a person that wants to talk to angels, this would be a new spiritual season where you are now in a new chapter where that's now possible. And now this new spiritual karma, the soulmates and faith in life, it has to be counterbalanced with reality, a new philosophy about the day-to-day life, or a new philosophy about how hard you work, a new philosophy about your nutrition, natural balance of life, or natural order even. So you can have this new faith, or you can't have this new faith unless you innovate your beliefs and philosophy about what life is capable of being, what to do in day-to-day life with the daily grind actually is. So this new faith has to be counterbalanced with the day-to-day grind and the reality that's represented by Uranus. So for you to have this spiritual faith, you actually are going to have to face directly your emotional insecurities and your fears about relationships. So fears of relationships to other people, could be anyone really, all the relationships to other people, whatever your fears are with other people. Could be a boss, a teacher, an employee. You're really going to have to face those fears and facing those emotional apprehensions where you have with interacting with others, the fear of them letting you down, the fear of you being left behind. If you've been treating them like your father treated you, or if you're treating them like your mother did, you kind of have to face those relationship issues, or you're not going to be able to have the new one, this new spiritual chapter of faith in karma. So shoring up your integrity with inner faith and then planting new seeds and this new spiritual season of karma, soulmate, and faith in life. Capricorn, this new moon is in your 11th house of networking, society, community. It's encouraging you to join forces with people who share your vision and who also support you. So you could be deep diving into a major group or project or class or even a collaboration. Feeling like you're part of a team has you feeling more grounded in your self-expression. So for you, you're shoring up your boundaries the first few days before this new moon with your trust in yourselves, in the world. So this is your integrity with friendships, integrity with where you belong and where you don't belong. And this is not letting you get into the wrong neighborhood, not letting yourself be attached to the wrong groups, and not letting yourself try to win over the favor of your boss or someone that really doesn't have your heart. So it isn't really connected to this sort of weird kind of energy of the 11th house. It is a little weird, but for you, it's really about keeping your nose in your own business and keeping other people who don't belong in your business out of your business. So this really is about being a good friend to your own beingness, to yourself, and being your own best friend first before you friend others. And I think sometimes Capricorns do throw themselves under the bus in order to be maybe more popular or more successful. I think you do not take care of yourself, and you try sometimes to be like everyone else over something else in general. Sometimes, you do it for business. Sometimes you do it for selves. So you literally throw yourself under the bus trying to be like somebody else. So integrity for a Capricorn is when you are all together flocking with the birds of the same feather in the flock. So if you don't vibe on the same vibration, then you don't belong in the situation. So really shoring up and being a friend to yourself first, that's the integrity piece that you're waving into. And then on the new moon on Thursday, you now enter a new spiritual season of your social reputation and your public interaction. So your public success, so this is a new day for public success, where Capricorns are getting out there in a new way. So this is a new chapter for you in society, a new chapter for social media, a new chapter for advertising if you own a business, a new campaign, a new spiritual season of public success, a public address even. So this public address must be counterbalanced with what your heart truly wants. You have to raise the frequency, the vibration, and have a new philosophy about romance, a new philosophy about creativity, about children. Like your heart has to be online, and your heart also needs to be included in this new approach to including your heart and making sure your heart is right along with the program. You need to be balanced if you want this new spiritual season in the world. You have to elevate your romantic and creative and love in the values to a new level, or come from a new approach. So for you, you have to have this new social reputation, this spiritual season. You need to face your fears around daily work and routines, and face your fears around a day-to-day work or workload, your work environment, your lifestyle, routines. Face your fears maybe around running equipment at work. Face your fears around your health, around, your body. So just work in the day-to-day reality and facing fears on the day-to-day, within the day-to-day. So those fears need to be extinguished, or you won't be able to have this new chapter in society, in your public reputation, unless your day-to-day fears in your daily life are, unless they're not removed. So you're coming into a new integrity around self-friendship to yourself and belonging, which then leads to a new spiritual season of social reputation and public interaction. Aquarius, you're falling, this new moon is actually falling in your 10th house of career and legacy. So you're really going to want to make a significant move to assert your long-term professional goals. It could be a time to discuss your aspirations with a higher up or write a winning proposal. It's bringing a brilliant opportunity to focus on your professional goals and kind of zero in on everything you're ready to accomplish, highlighting what drives your career, encouraging you to prove yourself as a worthy competitor even. So for you, it's this new self-discipline. This is a new way of being behind yourself, a new way of deciding for yourself, a new way of keeping your boundaries clear and clean for yourself, where you know that you're making sure that what you were deciding is including your emotional needs with what you're deciding. It's including your heart's needs. So making sure the right ingredients go into a decision is for the right ingredients. They have to go all in for these decisions that really make yourself at the core of your integrity. And then we get the new moon as we cascade. You're now moving into a new spiritual season within your career, parenting, and legacy. So I would say for you, you're moving into a career that will be more involved within the age of Aquarius herself. So the age of Aquarius, you're going to work where you're going to be like shifting the frequency, the vibration of the planet. I think kind of officially opening the door. You're officially maybe starting a new chapter with your career, legacy, parenting, or even plans for retirement. If you're retiring, then this would be retirement plans. A new chapter would be the retirement. So you have this new season of career, legacy, and parenting and success. In order to have that, you have to counterbalance it with your home, your emotional coping skills, your family. You are probably going to have to uphold the values of family, home, and emotional care and nurturing if you're going to support this new career. And if you don't have the right values at home, family, and the emotional coping skills with your career, you're not going to be able to flourish. So the home really is the emotional foundation, the soil of our garden, of our soul. And the career is like our harvest and our fruits. So you kind of have to balance those two. So this is like a new spiritual season of career because there's a new revolution of your home, your family. And in order to have this new career, this new chapter, you're going to have to face fears around creativity, children, romance, fears of your heart, whatever your heart's afraid of. You're actually going to have to face those fears around your heart. Fears even maybe around creativity, your creative potential, even around people that you might know. People running away with your ideas, taking your creativity and running with it. Even fears around your children being in jeopardy, or even maybe staying close to your children, even though in fact they're fine, they're grown up, they're leaving the corridor, the home. And it also might be around issues around letting go of your own career, or maybe issues around romance, maybe around your personal dreams. Like I have my own personal dreams. There's no fears, to be extinguished. So if you want this new chapter, this new spiritual season with your career, legacy, leadership, children, partnerships, parenting. So once again, it's shoring up self-discipline. So how you are the big decision leading, making the big decision, leading to a new spiritual season of career, leadership, and parenting. And last but not least, Pisces. So this new moon is in your 9th house of adventure, just encouraging you to take the step out of your comfort zone and challenge your perspective of the world. So it's this opportunity to truly spread your wings and get out of your comfort zone. And the more knowledge you can soak up and soak in communication, you can enjoy now more so, and the more you will be even inspirited or inspired. So you're shoring up your integrity with your belief in yourself. So it's really time to have a new belief in yourself. It's time to uphold those new beliefs as well. Not letting or allowing your mind to stamp on those beliefs, not letting the words of your mother, your father get into your head and override your system of those beliefs. Just really having really strong boundaries up to just the belief you have in yourself and knowing that you believe, and also boundaries of what you're not in belief with, or what is not true, or what you don't know. So that's like being clear with yourself, what you do know and what you don't know, and just knowing inside of yourself that it really is powerful to just say, I don't know. And it's okay. Say, I do know, because you are owning your authentic truth, and you have a truth within yourself where you can stand on your own integrity about what you can believe within yourself and what you're not ready to believe at the moment. And that makes you completely ready with what leads to the new moon, which is a new spiritual chapter of education, philosophy, or even beliefs. So it really is a new adventure for you. So this is a new chapter in your personal story. This is a new chapter in education, in your philosophies, publishing even. If you're going to be a writer, could be in education if you're a teacher. Whatever it is, it's this whole new spiritual season of beliefs and philosophies, education. So these beliefs and education have to be counterbalanced with your thoughts, your logic, your communication, and what you write and how you communicate. So you have to have your values, your thinking values. They have to be higher. You have to have a different philosophy about how you think. You have a different philosophy about different algorithms that you use, or your approach, how you approach to use a language, your vocabulary. So you have to innovate the values of your actual intellect and the way you actually think with this new chapter of education, philosophy, belief, and structure, all ninth house things, or your story to really evolve, which you want it to evolve, is for this to happen, for this new education, this philosophy, belief structure. You have to face those fears around those emotions, face fears at home, face fears of family, about your ability to emotionally cope, your emotional threading. You have to be fearless about being able to actually emotionally cope with anything, to be able to emotionally get yourself through anything, to be able to deal with your family or be able to have a solid home and emotional foundation. So Pisces, you need to face your emotional family and coping fears in order to have this new chapter of education, beliefs, philosophies, adventure. So once again, Pisces themselves are shoring up their beliefs in themselves and getting into integrity, getting that into place of how you do believe in yourself. And then as you cascade into this new moon, this is a new expanding of your emotional trust and opening you up to a new spiritual season of education, philosophies, and beliefs. Now, for the Musing Moon meditation. So since we are recalibrating from the other world, the unseen, upcycling, creating a new system, breathing in from the shaman's portal, down to the earth star, and then back out through the third eye. So from the shaman's portal, right above your head, it's a little pinprick there, a little dot, seriously. So you want to take in an in-breath all the way down to the earth star, hold it for a count of 3, and as you exhale, bring the energy up from the earth and release that out the third eye. You can bring in colors of violet, silver, indigo, or even colors of the earth, the soil. I would go with what resonates for you and also, more importantly, through you. So that's the breathing part. I'm going to go into each of the channels of the cosmic grid within the shaman's portal, and I hope that makes sense. So take a few deep breaths, and as you focus on your breathing, I'm just going to speak and you just tune in. So breathing in through the shaman's portal, I am protected, I am connected to the source, the divine, the creator, the greater spirit. Down to the earth star, hold for a count of 3. Exhale, release through the third eye. Inhale through the shaman's portal. I affirm that I am connected to all of my container in my heart's channel and protected down to the earth star. Hold for a count of 3. Exhale, release through the third eye. Inhale through the shaman's portal. I affirm that I am protected and connected. The tool of my emotions. Down to the earth star. Hold for a count of 3. Exhale, release through the third eye. Inhale through the shaman's portal. I am connected and protected to all of my beliefs from the cosmic galaxy, down in and through to the earth star. Hold for a count of 3. Exhale, back up and out the third eye. Release. Inhale through the shaman's portal. I am that I am, and I affirm that I am connected and protected to my social integrity, where I belong in society. Down to the earth star. Hold for a count of 3. exhale, release third eye. Inhale through the shaman's portal. I affirm that I am connected and protected to all of my thoughts of integrity in and through my container. My thoughts are only affirming the positive. All other thoughts that are less than, release through the third eye on my exhale. Release. Inhale through the shaman's portal down through to the earth star. I protect and I connect while affirming the ability to open and receive the juice, the treasure, the love, and the light from the Creator. Exhaling through the third eye, the inability to receive. Releasing all cosmic debris. Inhale through the shaman's portal, down to the earth star. I protect and connect to my gifts and the connection to the greater spirit. I affirm the connection to these higher beings, the angels, Father God, Mother God, the ascended masters, all the unseen, and all the otherworldly beings. Hold for a count of 3. And as you exhale all these energies that do not belong in your beingness through your third eye, releasing outside of your container. Inhale through the shaman's portal and affirm down to the earth star that you are a great master. You are a master of your own personal ability to make decisions from your higher self. Hold for a count of 3. And as you exhale through the third eye, you exhale decisions that no longer resonate with your heart space. Inhale through the third eye. I connect and I protect my actions, my character, my behavior. It is shifting to a new spiritual season, to a field of peace, joy, and happiness. I affirm I am safe in my container. Hold for a count of 3. And exhale all characters and behaviors that no longer reside and match this new spiritual season. Inhale and affirm the magical being that resides within you. I affirm all the manifestations and the ability to manifest in this physical reality the life I am meant to live, only serving my higher self and the otherworldly village. Hold for a count of 3 into the earth star. And as you exhale all the manifestations that do not resonate with your heart space, release out through the third eye, giving it a nice cleanse. And on the last inhale, I am connected and protected and loving the being that resides within me. I am safe, I am secure, and I am loving the skin I am in. Hold for a count of 3. And know in your heart space as you exhale, you are becoming the being that resides within you. Inshallah and Ashe. I don't know about you, but that was all feeling pretty juicy to me. Thank you for tuning in. I know this was my longest musing moon meditation, but I love the season of Scorpio. Make it a magical new moon, and as always, blessings to you. And I'll see you on the other side.